Can everyone hear me okay? Great. It's brilliant to see so many women here tonight. So Robbie asked me would I come in and talk a little bit tonight. I was actually a full-time athlete in sailing for over 12 years, 13 years. So I went to the London 2012 Olympics, the Rio 2016 Olympics and the Tokyo 2021 Olympics. But I guess I was always cycling a bit. I cycled a little bit as a kid, and then cycling became quite a big part of my training while I was sailing. So all my sort of endurance stuff was done on the bike because it was a really good way to get sort of exercise in where you're not sort of hammering your joints anymore. When in sailing every day, I was putting a lot of load on my body. And it was something I loved. I loved the idea of trying to get into racing, but all my coaches were like, nope, you're not going racing your bike. If you fall off, Sport Ireland aren't going to be very happy when they're giving you funding to go sailing, not cycling. So I actually did do the Orwell Women's League time trial up in the Pine Forest Road in 2013. And that was the first time I did it. So it was quite funny that I'm still doing 11 years later, I'm still going up there. But sailing was, I guess, an amazing part of my life. I got to travel around the world, competing against the best in the world. I loved it. When I was younger, it was just something I enjoyed and loved so much, and there was no pressure to do it. I just wanted to get better all the time and go to new places and race against new people. But then as I got older, I guess there was a lot more pressure. It wasn't just a hobby, it was nearly a job. It was trying to qualify for the Olympics and trying to get results. And the way funding works with Sport Ireland, you need to get a result every year to get funding for the next year. And if you don't get that result, you either drop down to a lower level of funding or maybe no funding at all. So every year you have these target events where you need to do better and better to stay on that funding cycle so that you can go and compete in all the events the year after. But I also did have an amazing time. I finished fourth in the London Olympics. I won a silver medal in Rio, which was, I was the fourth Irish woman to win a medal. But since then, we actually had 5 more women win medals in Tokyo with Kelly Harrington in boxing and the women's 4 in rowing. So it's there's lots more of us now. We still remember. But I went out to Tokyo thinking I had a very good chance of winning an Olympic gold medal, and I performed really badly. I probably let my own expectations get the better of me, and when I started making some small mistakes, instead of being able to get back on track, I just sort of snowballed and had a bad event, and I finished 18th, and it kind of made me realise that you're not always going to get what you think you deserve, even with all the hard work. But I'm still, I wouldn't have changed anything. I just didn't do it right when it came to the actual event. But when I came home from Tokyo, I was pretty disappointed and sort of didn't really know what to do with myself and didn't really want to do anything. I was feeling probably the least motivated I'd felt in a long time. And on Instagram, Kate Early was doing a story about the women's racing in Cork Park. And I wouldn't have even known Kate very well, but I sent her a message going, this looks really cool. Do you think I could come next week? And she's like, definitely come next week. So I entered, and then I actually considered not coming at all. I was like, oh, maybe I won't come, because it is like, it's scary throwing yourself into something new when you don't really know anyone or you don't know what to expect. But I turned up in Cork Park, I didn't even know it existed. It's an amazing facility out there in Clondalkin. It's a bike-only racing track, which is pretty cool. Getting to go around a track knowing there's no cars, no pedestrians going to jump out at you. It's just bikes. And they said, okay, Annalise, you can start in the A2s. So I got to start, I think, 20 seconds ahead. And I'd just come from the Olympics, where I was probably the fittest I'd ever been in my life, and ended up just doing, I think, a 40-minute time trial. and probably still did a higher power that I can do today for 40 minutes. So I won my first race, and I had a great time, and I guess I got the bug from it from there, and I started trying to do more races and think, how can I get a little bit better? But then while I'm cycling, I try and not do what I did with sailing and keep it really fun, not get too serious, not start thinking about things, how they need to be perfect, or I need to do training sessions perfectly, and just enjoy it. And that's why probably, I don't know, definitely 25% of my training is actually just commuting. I try and cycle over on my bike. Then I try and get out on my mountain bike when I can. Although last week I was cycling with Cueva May, the national champion, and I tried to keep up with her. And I ended up falling off twice, the second time into a gorse bush, where I very embarrassingly had to ask to be pulled out because I was so far into it. But I was fine, but my ego was bruised. And then getting out, I guess, on my gravel bike, and there's so many different things. And then the people that I've met as well, that's been probably one of the greatest things. So many really fun, driven women in cycling. And every time I go to a race, I get to meet someone new, and getting to go training and just getting to enjoy it, getting to be outside. Like on a day like today, I think there's probably nowhere better in the world to cycle your bike than Ireland. And it makes us appreciate the very long, bad winter. But I guess now I'm really enjoying racing. I'm kind of getting more and more into it. I'm having a lot of fun this year. I'm winning the National Road Series at the moment, and just loving racing. But probably one of the biggest changes for me racing this year as opposed to last year, the year before, is how I'm fueling. I guess it was probably a hang up from sailing that I was always watching my weight and being careful not to eat too much. So I would have just not drank sports drinks because I was like, they're just drinking calories. I don't need to drink calories. And I've completely changed my attitude around that this year, where I'm just trying to eat as much as possible, particularly when I'm doing hard training sessions or in races. And I've just noticed a huge difference in being able to perform better over a longer race, or also in a training session, get the most out of myself. So it's, I guess it's like a learning thing, because I've worked with some of the best dietitians and nutritionists around, but it still has taken me up to being 33, 34 years old to actually start trying, I guess, eating more when I'm doing hard exercise, and then making sure that I eat lots when I get back in. Well, before I just had, I guess, an amount of calories I ate every day, and that was what I did. Well, now I'm trying to eat as much as I can when I'm doing these hard races or hard sessions, and I'm noticing a huge difference. Now, it is a lot of sugar, which is also, I don't love hammering sugar into myself, but it is, I think it does actually really work for when you're trying to get better. So it's important. And then another thing I've noticed is when I fuel properly on the bike, I'm not starving when I come home. I'm able to eat a normal meal, rather than before I was probably under fueling on the bike and then starving when I got home and eating more, which is kind of counterproductive, because if I'd just eaten that food during my session, I would have done better. But yeah, it's I guess what else? I've got to race on the track last year with Newcastle West Wheelers. I'm part of a fantastic racing team of women, and we all kind of have each other's backs. We won the Team Pursuit National Championships and the Madison National Championships, and I also won the Individual Pursuit Nationals. So it's quite cool to learn a whole new discipline of cycling and meet another whole new group of people that are involved. But it's, I'd just say, if you're interested in racing, definitely try and give it a go. There's so many options in Ireland. It is hard. I think something that women struggle with is when you go to enter a race, you want to feel really well prepared. You want to make sure that you're going into it the best you can. Well, I've noticed this. I'll be talking to men before the start of a race, and they all think they're going to win. Like, every single one of them is like, yeah, I'm going to win. And I'm looking at them going, you have absolutely no chance of winning. But in their minds, they think they have a chance of winning. Then they're in the race and they're like, oh, this is kind of hard. Maybe I won't win, but they still think there is a chance. Well, I find with us, we're probably very critical and we're like, oh, I don't want to go to that, I might get dropped. Well, there's loads of men will get dropped, but they don't actually think about that. And what I'd say is, yeah, the races are loads of fun, and the more of us that do them, I think the more it's going to grow the sport and I guess get respect that we need. I was talking to an organiser of the Shea Elliott at the top of the mountain on Sunday, and I said, would you run a women's race next year? And he goes, oh, we just don't get any entries from you lot. I was like, okay. And then he was like, do you do racing? And I was like, a little bit, yeah. I don't want to race against the men because it's a very different type of race. I was like, you have to be realistic of physiology. Men have testosterone and we don't. So they are just naturally able to do more power than we are. And anyway, so I think we'll try and rally to get a race for the women next year. But then I guess that's also get the numbers involved as well, which is important. But I think that's about it. I'd love it if anyone has any questions. And I also brought my Olympic medal, so everyone can have a look at that as well. Yeah, I'll hold it out.
What distances do you race?
I race anything between. Last night was 4 kilometres.
Yeah.
4 very hard kilometres, and up to probably 100 kilometres is the longest sort of women's races. But they're very fast. Like 100 kilometres is less than 3 hours when there's a big group working together. And then, yeah, I try and get out training during the week and vary it. And yeah, just there's everything. Track has very short races. And there's kind of everything you can find, I think, if you want to. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it's 500 grams of solid silver. And then they have every Olympic medal has Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, on one side, and then the logo of those Olympics on the other side. So actually, that's where Phil Knight got the name Nike. It's the Greek goddess of victory. He didn't just come up with it.
Right.
Yeah. So anyone wearing a pair of Nikes, it's that's how he came up with the name. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
And did they come in that? Or did you
Oh
find
no,
that?
no, this is my mum's friend makes jewellery bags and she made a special one for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I was a bit late. I had a lot of trouble with buses.
Oh no, yeah.
Could you give me a slight introduction?
Yeah, I was just talking about, I guess, cycling and racing and...
Changing your career from sailing to cycling. Wow, it's heavy.
Yeah.
Imagine that in your neck.
It was when I got given it, the Dutch girl who won the gold medal, she'd won a silver medal in London. And I just go, oh God, it's really heavy. She's like, obviously. I remember thinking, I was like, all right, all right, just because you go, this is your second one, but yeah.
Have you shown it?
It's just behind you there.
Okay.
Are you rowing at all at the moment?
Sailing, yeah, I'm a little bit. I do it for fun, and then I do quite a bit of coaching with the current Irish team, which means I kind of get to be involved, but at a more relaxed level. It's it's something like I still love the sport, which is important because I think sometimes when you're doing a sport and it kind of consumes you, you can sort of lose the love for it a little bit. And yeah, I think now that I'm racing the bike, it kind of reminds me, I feel the same way I did when I was first started out sailing, where it's just fun, there's no pressure, you're having a good time, and I have to keep on reminding myself that as well, because I got a little bit frustrated on Friday evening after a race. I had to remind myself. I was like, Annalise, you're doing this for fun. And it is sometimes. You can get a bit competitive about things, but I think you have to remember what you're doing. Sport it's meant to be fun. You're meant to do it with friends. You're meant to, I guess, push yourself and see see what you can do, but don't take yourself too seriously because you'll just end up disappointed. Yeah.
Can I say one thing? Sorry, I'll be talking later on Helen Kerrane, the women in sport person. more bloke. A man would have said, yeah, I've national medals, I've got them here, I've done X amount of races, I came fourth in whatever the most recent race he came fourth in was. Whereas women were kind of, no, we do that. It's grand.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily the best at our own PR. And sometimes I think you need to own that and own your space in the world and go, yeah, I can do this. I am me, I have won stuff, I am good at this, and this is what I've done.
Yeah.
And it's just be more bloke. They don't have the as you said, they don't have the insecurities. But I think it's a really nice thing to build on and go, yeah, I can stand here on my own 2 feet and turn around to that organizer and go, yeah, I've won a national race, done a few other things, I've won the national league, I've got an Olympic medal. This discipline and go, I have value and we have value as women, and you should put on a race for it. And you will get the numbers. If you don't put it on, they won't come. If you put it on and we promote it,
Yeah.
there's a chance they'll come. Rosamond, whose organizer is here, knows this. She's
I
got
think
the
a
numbers.
lot of women, they'll feel like I love cycling and I love swimming, and we're doing a triathlon this year because I'm coming up to 60.
Yeah.
I'm not going in to win. I'm going in to make sure, hopefully I get to the end of it. So I think we would maybe have more that type of an attitude.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be the best and the best and not be having family and kids and worrying about dinner and everything. To be able to be the best of the best, that I think if we can just go and just enjoy. It's nice to compete and have something to train for.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That we've enjoyed, like since last September, doing the swimming, doing the bits of cycling, and and do all of that. To just have something to aim for, that you feel that every time you get into the pool, I'm going to try and do my 65 lengths for this triathlon. I'm going to try and do the cycling.
So fair play. I said I'd run after 2, fair play.
Yeah, but like even to just participate is
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. So as part of my sort of, when I was full-time sailing, I was a full-time athlete. So I was training on average probably 30 hours a week. And probably 15 hours of those were sailing. And then the other 15 hours were gym and on the bike. So I would always do 3 gym sessions a week and then normally about 12 hours on the bike, sometimes less. If sailing was hard, cycling would become more active recovery. But yeah, I was doing quite a lot of miles. I guess particularly during COVID as well, I wasn't able to sail for 2 or 3 months, and then I just transferred the time I'd spent sailing onto the bike. So it's, I do quite a lot of mileage. Which is, I don't know, maybe I do too much. I think it's, I'd say 12 to 15 hours a week is a manageable, like it's tough, but it's that gets you to a very high level. So that's, and probably 8 hours a week of being very sort of efficient also would do the same in terms of just making sure that you're getting the right stuff in. Another thing I'd say is try and do the easy stuff really easy, and then so that you have the energy to do the hard stuff rather than just going and being cycling kind of hard the whole time. Then you'll actually never be able to do any really hard interval sessions. And also enjoy the cafe spins. And go and enjoy. I'm like a big believer in cycling somewhere purely to get cake, because it has to be enjoyable and with friends and in a group and have a bit of a laugh. Yeah.
And when they talk about doing 80%, 20%, what you're after kind of mentioning there. But if you're out and you cycle a lot on your own and you're always trying to improve your time, so there's never any opportunity to see that where the 20% is and the 80%. It's kind of, that's what I find, maybe with a group you might train better, but if you cycle a lot,
If you're on your own.
I find I don't ever improve, I just need to get slower.
It's, I think, I quite often will go out and my average speed will be 17, 18 kilometres per hour. I actually was asked, did I want to go for a cycle with someone there last week? And he said, oh, my average speed is about 35 kilometres an hour. Is that okay? And I was just like, no, I actually don't go that fast. I was like, it's not a race. It's out for a little bit of nice training. So it is hard, but I guess I use a power meter and my heart rate to kind of measure everything. So I try to control that. That's kind of what I do. And when I'm going out to go very easy, I try and keep my heart rate and my power below a certain amount. Yeah.
Do you have a coach? Do you have a cycling coach?
I do have a coach. He's actually my physio. He's been my physio since I was 15. And he also did my programming for my gym stuff and my sort of fitness stuff when I was sailing. And then sort of last year I said, Mark, I kind of don't really know what I'm doing here. You can just end up going, when you don't have a coach, it's very easy to go out and overdo it and then not do enough or race too much, and then you're not actually doing any of the easy training that you need to build your aerobic base. So I've been getting a program, and even though in my mind I think I know how to structure training, when someone's actually telling you what to do, it is much easier. So I do think coaching is a worthwhile investment.
Do you still go to the gym?
I still go to the gym a little bit. I probably try and do one gym session a week, but yeah, it's always a bit sad when I go because I was so strong and I'm not strong anymore. It's amazing how quickly you lose your upper body strength when you're not lifting heavy weights all the time. But I do think it's important also as women to keep strength training just for bone density and everything like that. So a little bit I think goes a long way. Yeah.
Can I just ask, I used to use the same as well, and I was subconscious about lack of time on my feet, and then going into cycling then because I lost further injuries. Also cycling again, you're on your bum and it's not feet time. And like you mentioned there with the bone density, I know strength training helps, but I'm conscious about the fact that you have to do a lot of walking or running as well. Like, what do you do for, obviously if you were saying now you're spending like 15 hours a week doing cycling. How do you get, are you
Yeah. I am a little bit conscious of it because it probably is on my radar genetically. My mum has needed a hip replacement and she's got 2 shoulder replacements on the way. So I probably am going to have osteoporosis of some kind. But it is something, trying to, I guess, get that basically impact stuff to keep your bones. And it is probably something I don't do enough of. I walk the dogs, but I don't know if that's actually doing it. Apparently just jumping is very good, or dancing.
Oh, women of a certain age jumping is not good.
Yeah.
Certain women that can't do much jumping.
Yes.
Your nutrition, I guess, was, like to get, one thing I would say is to drink your milk, like where a lot of us are, any nutritionist will tell you, like, all these fads, almond milk and your soy milk and everything like, but
I would say,
your milk is
I'd also say with food, like, having also kind of 80-20 rule for food as well. Don't enjoy the nice stuff, but not all the time, and make sure you get lots of colours in your diet. I think that's really important, that your plate has lots of colour on it, lots of different fruit and vegetables. And if you're doing that every day, and then you can enjoy your cakes and pastries occasionally, and all the stuff that makes food enjoyable. But it's I kind of try and eat well, but if I really want something, I'm allowed to have it, which was another change from when I was sailing, where I just had food groups that I was like, no, I'm not allowed to eat those, and they don't do it. You're not gonna die if you have a pastry. You actually probably will be very happy. But yeah, anyone? Yeah.
If you were first been recruiters that we would have seen you at the off-road.
So that's this. I am actually someone who. So I wanted to do the first round of the national point series on the mountain bike up in Ballinasloe 2 weekends ago, and I am the person who, what I'm just talking about, I just suddenly wimped out and I got too afraid. I was like, I don't know anyone there. I don't know the course well enough, and I didn't enter and I didn't do it. And I cycled up and I watched the race and I was kicking myself for not just being. Yeah. They're up in lead mines, aren't they? Yeah. So it's, I would say we're all, like, I'm guilty of it as well, when like I think it's kind of scary, or I feel it is scary entering things when you don't the unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you feel that Ireland does enough to promote other sports than the GAA? Because I think it's really sorry to see a youth, a champion, the sailing or other sports, cycling, we don't see anything. There is competition, there is no coverage, media coverage, and that doesn't push young generation to do your sport or other sports. What do you think?
It is. I think it's really tough. Like pretty much every sport in Ireland is a minority except for GAA, soccer, and even rugby is kind of minority. It's only played in certain areas, and all other sports are trying to get those, people that want to compete internationally. And
Sorry, but I live in Drumconva, and I'm called the scourge of Drumconva, because I used to do athletics, now not very well, but literally you wouldn't hear a peep, and it was Garda, the under 10s from the Bally go backwards. And anyway, that's my rant. But
but is it like there's I think 800,000 members of the GAA in Ireland, so that's 800,000 people doing sport, which is so important. They're being active, they're moving.
And the boys and girls,
Yeah.
men and women.
The one thing I would say is like Ireland is actually a big sporty country, and we've got a similar population size to the likes of Denmark or New Zealand. So probably we could be competing at a similar level to them at internationally at Olympic Games, winning, 15 to 20 Olympic medals per Olympics rather than 2 to 5. So it's
like everything else, it comes down to money. And GAA is affordable for most families to bring their kids along to the local club.
Yeah.
And no matter what other sport they want to join, suddenly there's a lot more money involved. And the money isn't there necessarily in a lot of families for them to do,
Yeah.
some of the fancier sports. But they can literally just go in whatever they're wearing to a GAA pitch, and they'll be included in the training and in the games.
Yeah.
And it's not costing them an awful
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
But if they don't like team sports, I would love to have done something like in gymnastics. I would love to have done that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I wouldn't have been there are probably loads of kids who'd love to have done lots of other things.
Yeah. It's
Has the sports facility out in Abbottstown helped? And was that around? when you were?
It's great. They have the Institute of Sport out there, which is huge, big gym with everything in it, and then there's the indoor track, which also has gymnastics centre, and there's the IRFU have their big indoor rugby pitch out there, and there's hockey pitches, there's GAA pitches, there's the aquatic centre. So over time, hopefully there'll be an indoor velodrome eventually, which will be a big step forward. But I think it's, there is sports for everyone in the country. That's the thing. And some people think that, they don't like sport, but they actually just haven't found the one that they like yet, because there is something for everyone. And it mightn't be GAA, it mightn't be cycling, it mightn't be sailing, but it'll be something.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'd say.
Was the facility useful for you though? Was it?
It was kind of useful for me.
It
I guess for me, because I was out on the water in Dunleary the whole time, having to go to Abbottstown to a gym isn't that convenient.
Yeah.
So, so sailing now has a shipping container with a gym in it, which actually, even though it doesn't look that fancy, it actually has all the same stuff that the really expensive facility has. And I would say that's the other thing, is sometimes like really fancy stuff isn't actually any different, it's not any better than the bog standard, thing that doesn't look as good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Has everyone seen it?
No, I haven't.
Haha. Okay, right. Okay, this is me. Okay, so my name is Orla Hendron. I have been cycling since. Okay, so I consider my cycling career starting in 2002. While I was doing triathlon, so I used a bike, and I used a bike to commute. But, so I raced a bike in triathlon, but I didn't really consider that I was a cyclist till I joined a cycling club. And how I joined a cycling club was I met somebody on a charity cycle. I ended up raising money for Crumlin Hospital through the triathlon and stuff. And somebody said, "Oh, you know, you're good at that. You should maybe race." And I went, "Race?" I knew nothing about racing. I didn't even. Somewhere in my life, racing, you know, all the Tour de France or all that never came across my path. So I knew nothing about racing. So this person introduced me to an organisation called the IVCA, which is the Irish Vet Cycling Association. So it's men over 40 and women over 35. So it's a really good place to start racing because it's all ability graded. So I race with men who are my ability. So I race with them, you know, they're mostly, and now they're mostly my age. So there isn't as much of that testosterone going around. They've lost a good bit of it. Yeah, we'll get back to that later. But anyway, so that's how I got started with cycling. And then I got involved. I met this woman here, Valerie Considine, and she was running a women's beginner league out in, there used to be a pub called the Boot Inn. You might have heard recently, it's gone, yeah. But we used to have a great circuit around there, and Valerie used to organise racing there, and I came along and started racing there. And you know, just in course and conversation, she mentioned that she was struggling, you know, getting everything done. Like, so I volunteered to give her a hand. And so 20 years later, we're both still at it, trying to get more women racing. And Valerie runs a women's international stage race, which she's been doing for the last 18 years. She reminded me the other day. So I've been cycling now 20 years, or a little over 20 years. So I can't believe it's actually that long, and I've made lifelong friends through cycling. So it's and I will get to why I picked that picture later on. So I just want to try and give you some tips that I've gained throughout the years to maybe help your cycling, be it, you know, sportives or racing a little bit better. So the first thing I was going to talk about was your bike and purchasing a bike and getting the right bike for yourselves. I'd say most of you probably have bikes. You look like you have already cycling, so I'll probably just skip through that a little bit. But I will say that I have the most important thing to get is the right fit. Like, no, it's okay. Actually, probably just. So the most important thing is to get the right bike frame size. You know, there's no point buying a light bike and it's too big for you. So it's really important that you get a right size fitting bike. So nowadays, like when I started, bike fit wasn't such a big thing, but now bike fit is kind of, most bike shops will offer a bike fit, and you might pay a few quid for it, but it is really well worth doing because we're all different shapes and sizes. So to make yourself comfortable on the bike and efficient and safe on the bike, I highly recommend getting a proper bike fit. And there's a good few very good bike fitters around the country. And just one thing that I would say about your bikes then, okay, so can you hear me? Yeah. So just one thing I wanted to say about bikes. So while your bikes can be made of carbon or aluminium, and an aluminium bike is an excellent bike. But the key thing that I would suggest is that your gears are an area where you're going to get the most benefit and most enjoyment out of. So if you get a block, a good ratio of gears that you can continue to pedal as opposed to grinding gears. When I started, the biggest block, and the block is this, on the back, the cassette that runs from. So the biggest one when I started was 21, but now you can get 30 on the back, and you can go all the way down to the smallest sprocket being an 11. So So you get much more choice now, but and you can fit more of those sprockets on the block. So I would highly recommend, getting a big block, as in lots of choice, so that you can have lots of choice for spinning your gears. So, and you can do that whether it's carbon or aluminium. And so a lot of people, as Annalise has kind of attested to already, that when you get into cycling, you will start with one bike, and then somewhere along the line, you might consider buying another bike. But the thing is, like, if you invest in a good aluminium bike initially, and you decide you like it and you want to continue, do a bit more sporties or more racing or whatever, and you want to perform better, you might want to prefer and buy a lighter bike, like a carbon bike. Your aluminium bike is still a very valid bike, and you can use it for your winter training. And I'd highly recommend keeping your aluminium bike for your winter training, because for a number of things. For your own conditioning, it'll make you much stronger if you use a heavier bike in the winter, and then too for your good carbon bike, to save your carbon bike, because like it doesn't like the rain, wind, and the Irish winters, whereas your aluminium bike, you can usually put mud guards and everything on it that are going to protect it and protect you. So that would be my advice on bikes. Buy the aluminium bike first of all, with the view to maybe later on upgrading, but keeping your aluminium bike. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is clothing. So again, it looks like a lot of you are already cycling, and you do know what equipment to use cycling wise. But typically, women now, you can use the shorts and everything come with women's specific chamois, and which are a bit smaller than a man's shorts, and then in the mannequin here we have like a women's short sleeve jersey. Like I would recommend, in the Irish circumstances, like the weather is always changing, so layers are best. Like I always bring a gilet with me, and I always bring a raincoat, no matter what. Like even if it's sun's belting out. Okay, if the sun's belting out, but like today, like I definitely brought a raincoat with me, like and a gilet, and then arm warmers are also another great thing to have. So layers are good. I think it's the best thing for Irish weather. And then the other key thing that I have is chamois cream. I always have use chamois cream on the chamois, because that will protect your bits and pieces and stuff. And especially if you are doing, long cycles and multiple day cycles, like it's very useful products to have is your chamois cream. I did an event last November, a charity cycle in Kenya, and so a lot of the people were new to doing that in multiple days, and I had chamois cream and pseudo cream, and they were all running to me to help to use it. Yeah. So another element that I'm going to talk about is training. So Annalise touched on some elements of training there, and the first thing that I would say. Oh, here's my thing next. Yeah. Okay, these are my prompts, because I am getting older. I am 20 years. Oh yeah, when I started cycling, I was already 40. So I'm now 60. So it's definitely a sport that you can keep going. I came from hockey, and all my hockey friends are no longer. Well, some are still playing a bit of hockey, but mostly they're not playing any sport. They might be playing golf, a bit of golf, but that's it. Whereas, cycling is great sport, and that you can keep doing it at a decent level. well into I race with guys who are in their 80s, so it's the sky's the limit with it. So the first thing I would say is have a goal. And that can be anything, you know, whether it can be a small goal, you know, or a very ambitious goal, but I think it's important to have some sort of goal to keep you motivated and to, you know, to see your progress. Then the next thing I have here is find some training buddies. So I think, again, it was mentioned earlier that, you know, people found in their clubs and things like that. I think it's important that it's great going out with your club, but sometimes in the clubs, things can, you know, some groups can be going too hard, too fast for you. So it is important to find a group of friends that will go with your pace, you know, that you can control the environment that you're in. So I think it's a good idea to find 4 or 5 people that you can train. I always find, actually, when you're training in a group, an uneven number is an ideal number of people to be training with, because when you're riding up and over, the group changes much more, so you get to chat to everybody. You know, it's kind of speed dating on a bike. But then also, like, that's the beauty of the bike, being able to go solo. You know, so like today, now I was able to just, you know, get on my bike and go and do a few hours before I came out here today. So I'd missed a few because we were doing the Orla Beginner League the last number of weeks, so I didn't get out. I normally get out on Tuesdays, but yeah. So like being able to go, that's the beauty of the bike, is that you don't need to wait for somebody to help you with your boat, or if you're rowing, you don't have the rest of the crew have to be with you. You can just go out yourself. Oh yeah, so the other thing that I really recommend is to, is to keep a diary. So that's why I had the picture in the front. So that year that I won that medal was 2016, and I kept a really good diary that year. Like I keep, I just have a horizontal planner from Filofax, you know. So I just put little notes in, so I can kind of see what my year is like. So you can see on a good year, I've filled it in quite a lot. But they're not massive notes. They're just small notes to remind well, most important, you've been consistent. So that's another thing that I would always say is, like, whatever your training is, whether you're doing 8 hours a week or 12 hours a week or 30 hours a week, you know, is that you're always doing it. You know, that you're not doing 60 one week and then nothing the next week. You know, that your training is consistent. So whatever you can do, you know, do it consistently. And then also recovery is really important. And I think it's one thing, you know, I don't know if it's one thing you found, Annalise, but it's something that I've heard, like, from athletes who were training, were initially, you know, looking for that funding, get training to get to that funding, and when they get to that funding stage, and then suddenly now they have all the money, you know, the funding, so that it enables them not to have to work. Now they can train all the time they want, so they do. And then what happens, they forget about the recovery. So because they have the time to train, they train loads, and maybe that's the advantage, is that they can recover. I kind of find that, you know, when you're working, so, you know, life gets in the way. So sometimes you can't train, you know, so maybe that's a good thing, you know, because we're kind of forced into our recovery, because, you know, some days you're planning to do a training session, but you can't do it because you're working, whatever. But like maybe that was necessary for you actually to take a bit of a break anyway. So I wouldn't be beating yourselves up if you don't get out for your sessions, you know. Sometimes it can be an advantage. So what I would say with training is, like, the most important thing is to build your base, so start off, by, the weekends are usually a good time, like to get some miles in, and then once or twice during the week you can build in some speed sessions, and again, like, then they can be anything, they can just be turbo sessions, they can be spinning class sessions, they can be strength endurance sessions. Strength endurance sessions, I know this is probably all a bit, I'm trying to give you a broad brush stroke of information, but as Annalise said, getting a coach is a good idea. But what I would say, if you are getting a coach, is equally, some people love having a coach and having a program to follow and will stick to it. But some people equally get turned off by it. They might start off all gung-ho, and then they find that it's too demanding to always do the actual program thing that they're being told to do. So they get turned off and they actually stop doing it altogether. So what I would say is, if you're getting a coach, do get a coach. By all means, get a coach, but have a good communication with your coach and tell them of your, domestic situations, all the things that you have to do, so that they can be informed, so they can give you the best, advice, informed advice, and they don't push you to do things that you physically just can't do, so you don't get turned off, So one of the things that we would do on the bike is strength endurance sessions. So, like Annalise was saying, she goes to the gym, but you can also do some strength work on the bike. And there's actually, one time we had a Leinster group when we were training just at the Merry Ploughman. There's a circuit there. It's a nice long enough drag, but not too long, that you can do a 6-minute effort on it. And Annalise was out training with her sister. That was back in yeah. So we had a Leinster group training on that hill, and Annalise was flying up and down. And
probably still find me on Crew Road most days of the week. My future husband found me on Crew Road. So the idea of strength work is, like, you put your gear into a high gear, so that your cadence is, you have to really push hard, like, to get to move. Yeah. So they usually are a short enough effort, so they're like 6 minutes to 10 minutes long. Sometimes we use the embankment, like, as a good climb for it, or that climb up around the Merry Ploughman. So it's a hard effort, like, but it doesn't actually tax your heart and lungs that much, but it'll tax your legs, so it's like you're grinding it at like 60, 70 revs up the climb, and then you'll spin back down again. So gym work.
It's not just about miles, it's about doing specific sessions that you don't have to do hours and hours. You can do 1 hour up and down the hills 5 times, 3 times, but pushing the big gear to build your muscles.
Yeah.
Or it can be practicing a high cadence, or it can be, but it doesn't always have to be miles.
Yeah. I mean,
hard on your knees going in high gears.
Well, no. I mean, it's because you won't be doing it for that long. And the idea is that you are engaging your core as well too, and you're using your quads. Yeah.
Are you standing or are you sitting?
You're sitting. Yeah, sitting. Yeah. Yes, and so cadence work. So cadence work, like Valerie just pointed out there, is an area that is often neglected. I don't know. Do any of you do any work on cadence? You do?
We watch it, yeah.
Good, yeah, good.
You see roughly you're aiming at it.
Yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. but it's a very important area to consider, because that will help with your knees, and that will help with your control of a bike. It will help with your recovery for your legs. So if you are, pushing up, like doing that strength work, or if you're pushing up a climb, if you can spin up the climbs, you will save your legs. You'll be able to spin up more climbs. Like for example, there's a race that we do with the IVCA around the Curragh, and it's a climb on it, and it's a climb that you could either go up in the big ring or you can go up in the small ring. And every time I've done it, I usually use the small ring. But last week I went up in the big ring to see if that was better. And by the third lap, my legs were they were in bits, So because I was pushing up it, so if I'd spun up it, it wouldn't have been so hard on my legs, but it would have been harder on my lungs. So the spinning it is more. You do have to work harder with your aerobic capacity. So that's why it's hard to train it, because you're out of breath, like when you're training it. So, but it is an area to look at. So yes, and so which takes me into like skills. So skills is an area that would be best done outside, or in a more practical sort of environment. But one thing I would say is, like when you're when you're in a group, when you're racing or doing sportives or anything like that, like being in the group is the advantage of cycling. So like the wind being at the front of the group is when you're doing most of the work. When you're behind people, you're saving energy. So that's kind of where you want to get the advantage of the group thing. So being able to sit comfortably in a group is a key skill of bike riding, racing, doing sportives. So being able to sit there, pedaling nicely, comfortable, relaxed, is a key skill. And if you practice when you're out on your bikes, spinning your gears as opposed to, grinding along, then you would be much more comfortable in a group when you're in your groups. What else did I want to talk about? Sorry, just have a. Oh yeah. Sorry, just sort of. Okay, that's kind of actually where as far as I got to. Have you any questions? Maybe that would be easier to.
Do you have any advice for
Are you? Yeah. Well, I would recommend joining a club. Yeah, would be a good place to start. Are you living? Where are you living?
beside that track in Clondalkin?
Oh, very good. Yeah. So it's there's actually a very good club in Clondalkin as well too. So and I think and some clubs are kind of more racing orientated. Some clubs are so you have a very welcoming women's club. So it's mixed as well. Yeah. And in Clondalkin there's a good club that cater for women. That would be the best place to start. Yes. Are you cycling on your own at the moment? Just off-road? Oh, cool. That's another thing that I would say is that, with cycling, there are so many different disciplines. You can, like in the winter, like I do some mountain biking in the winter. Because like in this country, like obviously the rain and everything like that, if you can go into the mountains, you can get out much easier. Like if it's raining, and you actually don't notice it so much in the woods. So I would do quite a bit of mountain biking in the winter, and cyclocross is a difference, is a kind of yeah, a bit of a crossover between. So it's got it's like a road bike, but it's got much fatter tires. So it's kind of like, I call it well, there's cyclocross, and there's called the gravel riding. But we were doing gravel riding before gravel riding was a thing, and I used to call it hill walking on a bike. So we used to go up, well, we still do, up around Johnny Fox is there, up around those woods and everything, and lead mines. Yeah, great, really good places to go on your bike where people normally walk. So yeah, so it is kind of, yeah.
You find so many places in Ireland.
Yeah.
Like Dublin and Wicklow, Kildare, they have amazing routes to go along on your bike that you get to, I always think you're going at the perfect pace to kind of take everything in, but fast enough that you get to take a lot in. You know, it's in a bike ride, 2-hour bike ride, you see so much. The canals are great to go along as well. There's so many different things.
This is
A few bikes.
Yeah. I have 20 years at it, so I have built them up over 20 years. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing about them. Yeah. But that is the thing about bikes, like they never really lose their value. Like, so, you know, there's always somebody who's going to buy your secondhand bike, you know, so it's, you know, they are investments, you know, as opposed to something that's just frivolously. Yeah, totally, yeah.
Like, you know, our club is, I'm in the same club, and it's relatively a cheap sport. It's a big investment in the beginning.
Exactly.
If you buy them over time.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, you know, we get such enjoyment.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And now, so now, like in Cycling Ireland, you know, they are starting to embrace masters categories, you know, so like while there is now like a masters road category, there's masters time trial category, and there's masters categories in cyclocross. Is the masters categories in mountain biking? Not yet. And there's masters category. There's a sort of masters category in the track. It's an open category, masters men and women together. But internationally, there's lots of masters competitions that you can compete in. So that means that you're competing at, you know, with your peers, you know. So like it's that's, you know, kind of what I really enjoy doing, and so it's you know, so it doesn't have to be so daunting, like, you know, going into like a women's race, you know, here now, like, you know, it is full of quite young people, which is really great because it used to be at all, but now we have our masters have now our own category, so we don't have to race with the young ones. So I think Helen and it's time to get up. So unless there's any questions there. Thank you.
So I should ask, how many of you are Cycling Ireland members? Okay, that's pretty much everybody, in which case I don't have to convince you. My first slide is nearly irrelevant, but hey, I'll tell you about it anyway. How many of you are members of clubs? Okay. Anybody solo rider on their own? Anybody looking to meet up with other people? Right, okay, good to know. There's something for everybody in this talk, I promise. Right, thank you very much. It's lovely to meet such a motivated bunch of women, even at 8:20 on a lovely sunny spring evening. I should introduce myself. I'm Helen Kerrane. I'm the Women in Sport lead for Cycling Ireland. So I've been in this job since November 2023, so 6 months in. I would say my job is to everything the sunlight touches that women and girls are involved in cycling. My job is to help you find that thing that moves you, that gets you out on a bike, and how we can best support and promote what you do as clubs, as individuals, and as people in your own right. So my own background, I should add, I've been cycling since I was 7 years old, which is the early 1980s. I didn't have a driving licence until I was 47, so my bicycle was my best way of getting around. I've raced in the mid-90s. I raced for UCD. That's the only connection myself and Annalise Murphy have, is the fact that we have the same cycling club in common at one stage, although not at the same time. I have tried all kinds of racing. I've done Valerie's Ross Le Mans, didn't come last. I have taught my own kid to cycle. I commute to work, which is a 40k round trip, 20k each way, along Canal and through the Phoenix Park from the south side of Dublin. And it's well worth it, gives me headspace. So you name it, I've done it. I've been chair of my own club. I'm here because I have essentially turned my hobby into my job. And I'm really privileged to do that. And it's lovely to actually do this as a job and to give back to my community, which is you. So let's see, how do I click on from here? Okay, roll it on a leg.
The left side, yeah.
The other left, yeah. Feels like that, all right? Next slide. So enough about me, more about what we can do for you. So why should you become a Cycling Ireland member? I think everybody here is one, so thank you very much for turning up. I should also thank Cycle Superstore for giving us in our Cycling Ireland this opportunity to talk directly to my community rather than dealing with you by email or a website or some other thing. I really value this as an opportunity to talk to you in person. So the various things that we offer is, first of all, we offer you membership, and there's membership types. Now, as mentioned this evening, there are racing memberships. You can do everything from limited competition, which allow you to do TTs and club leagues, all the way up to full competition licenses. We also have a leisure license, and we have a commuting membership license and a cycling supporter one. So there's something for everybody. I will say when you join up, our member benefits that we offer in the forms of discounts, particularly Cycle Superstore is a very generous one, you will get back the value pretty much of what you spend on us if you availed of every single one of those member benefits. So those are the main things we offer. And of course, insurance. There's personal accident and public liability insurance. So not necessarily to keep you safe on the road, but to give you something to fall back on should the worst happen. And as I mentioned, the benefits, the Cycle Superstore vouchers, and much, much more. Everything from lights and money off to Kinetica Protein and many others. So my main role, as I said, is everything the sunlight touches as regards girls and women in sport. And my job is to deliver programs. So that can be in collaboration with my colleagues to try and get the best programme for ye in the circumstances that you're in. So we offer training programs in terms of Women on Wheels, which is can be run by local sports partnerships and clubs for women in their clubs to improve them, or you can start from a beginner. We've offered things like Couch to 50k. I'm guessing some of you are well beyond that, so I'm not going to go there. But I think one of the things I should really look towards developing is retention of our members. And if you guys have any ideas, I would love to hear them about how we keep and improve you. We've got you in as a beginner. Now we want to keep you there and to give you something back so that you can work towards. So there's other things like, there's going to be a big day out for Leinster on the 27th of July up in Gap. We're going to do an on-road and an off-road spin. We'll have lunch and then there'll be a workshop in the afternoon. Cycling Ulster, Women's Cycling Ulster has been running the same thing for the last 2 years. And I thought, why should them up north get all the good things? It would be nice to do the same thing in each of the other provinces. So this year we're just doing it as a one-day event, and I'm organising with the other provinces to try and get the same thing held there in both Connacht and Munster as well. Because I think, again, it's an opportunity to come together as women in a space, have stuff that's targeted to us, have the chat, have the crack, get out on your bike in the morning, whether it be on-road or off-road, because we'll get you a ride leader to take you there, come back, have lunch, meet like-minded people, do something worthwhile in the afternoon and go home happy, okay? Again, feedback, criticism, very much welcome. So those are the fundamentals and the very basic things we offer. There's many more. We support racing. I'm the liaison with the Women's Commission. Many members of here whom are sitting here tonight, and the Women's Commission organise racing and other events, and pretty much everything from youth training to trips away to track to you name it, they have it under control, and I'm really proud of them stepping forward as volunteers in the space. I'm getting paid to do this, they're giving up their time to do what they do to help women cycling in Ireland, and that's very valuable. So, let's see, can I do a next? No, I can't. There has to be a different, better way of doing this. I apologise for the wait. Yay. No, never thought I'd be doing
It did just click on.
it. Did just click on, I would hope, but we'll see. Let's see. I've lost my mouse.
Maybe the box. Because
I'll be here all night, otherwise we've all got homes to go to. Right. Okay, so since you're here, since I do programs, you need to find what moves you. And I'm building on what both Orla and Annalise have said. You find your niche. We have something like 19 different disciplines of cycling. Everything from track to off-road to road racing to BMX to mountain biking to enduro to downhill. There is something out there that you will find that makes you want to get out on your bike, whether it be with other people or whether it be on your own. There is something for everybody. And as mentioned before, this is a sport all year round, even in the depths of winter. Mudguards, good kit and a dry jacket and some lights will get you through the winter. And on a nice day today, you can be out enjoying the breeze through your hair as you cycle home from work on your commute. So it's something for everybody at any stage and every age. And I think that's really important. And what I want to do and give back to you is the idea that cycling can be sustainable. So find what moves you, what's going to get you out the door. In the case of, as somebody mentioned earlier, you've got family. And I know that can be very hard to be selfish about your time. And I know in my case, it's complex domestic negotiations with my other half to get out. But it is important that you value yourself and your own physical activity and you get out there. And it's not being selfish, because a happy mammy is a happy life for everybody, okay? Or a happy woman is a happy life for everybody. So we offer things like training, as already mentioned. There are online resources as well. During the pandemic, we had a training hub. Those videos are still available on YouTube. If you go to Cycling Ireland on YouTube, you'll find our training hub. So there's stretching. There are suggestions for turbo trainer sessions. There's a whole heap of stuff like that. During the winter, as part of training, we do online Zwift rides. So if you're looking outside and you can get yourself onto your bike onto a turbo trainer of some form, you can do online training and racing with other people, and there's a Zwift League, and that can be a really valuable way of still connecting with people through the dark winter months. I say clubs are probably the backbone of our organisation. They're run by volunteers, again, like-minded people who want you to get out there on your bike. So they were there to support you. If you're not a member of a club, I would highly advise trying to find one. And again, you can find people who will support you in your cycling goals, and you'll have the crack and you'll meet some people and it'll be fun. And that's the main idea. For those of you who aren't in a club or on your own, we have relaunched community bike rides. These are across the island. They are run by trained ride leaders who we've already trained many hundreds of people around the country. Ride leaders can be in your club through an LSP. It means that you know how to lead a ride in a safe manner. And once the ride or community bike ride is organised by a ride leader through the Link My Ride app, it becomes a Cycling Ireland event. They can take up to 8 people on a ride, and there's Cycling Ireland insurance. So you can have members of the public. It doesn't have to be club specific. You can meet up as 8 women from wherever. Once you have a ride leader and it's through our particular criteria, you'll find more on our website under community bike rides. You can do that. So it gives you an opportunity to meet people from other clubs. It doesn't have to be a club spin, it can be a social spin. From the women on sport side, we're launching a women-only rides under the tagline of Sister Cycles. So again, a female ride leader or even a man can still organise a ride specifically aimed at women only. So you're meeting like-minded women on the same thing. I know women are doing this already around Dublin and around the country, and there is demand from our members to have something that's not a club spin, that isn't going hard with a guy who wants to go 35k an hour. You know, it is going out with your friends, maybe 18, 20k an hour, maybe down to that nice cafe you've seen down the end of the road, and coming back again. Or maybe it's going a bit further. So the ride leader themselves can decide how long they go out for, how far, what's involved. They'll put up a route you can see and you can join up. It's quite simple. So go to community bike rides on the Cycling Ireland website, and then you'll find out how to join your local one if there's one available. If there isn't, come and talk to us about getting ride leader training and we can set you up as one. We would be delighted to take people on who actually want to give back to their community. So I think that's important for you as well. So the other ways of getting you around, as I said, back to that thing of gold, sportives. There are a few of them around the country that are women specific. There's the Women's Lap of Louth. There is, I have to say, the Women's Commission's Sportif on the 22nd of September, which is actually going to be a stage, or part of a stage of Rosnamon, as in you ride the same route as the riders themselves will have tackled. So it's a great opportunity to see what the same roads are like, even if you're going a little bit slower. But again, that's at the end of September. There are many, many more around the country. It's a good summer of cycling ahead of you. And of course, racing. And I have to say props to Orwell Wheelers and the Dublin clubs and the Women's Commission for organising Corker Park women's racing primarily. If you want to go out and have more fun than a turbo session on a Monday or Tuesday, is it Monday evening or Tuesday evenings? Tuesdays, yes, after the Orwell League. Come along, either watch it or go and take part. There are A and B races. It is the best fun you'll have. It's really, there's a lot of camaraderie. I did them through 2013 and 14 and beyond. Haven't done them the last couple of years. But you have so much fun meeting like-minded women, and you suddenly discover you've actually got legs and you can do stuff. The first year I did them, I got lapped, my first one. Second one, the race I did, I got dropped. Third one, I stayed on. And the fourth one, I think I actually placed. So you build your way up, you learn new skills. It's more fun. It's half an hour of your life. You will feel like you're dying, but it'll be so worth it. So I'll maybe not be selling it in that way, but genuinely it is some of the best fun you can have amongst a bunch of women. It's really well organised, and again, props to the clubs to actually take this on as part of supporting women's cycling. So, next slide. Let's see if I can do this any way quicker. Yay. Right, as part of that, you may not feel like racing and competing. You may go, well, I'd like to know what that's like, but I don't feel confident in myself. I would say go and watch something. Cycling is a great spectator sport. There's everything from the major road races. So Ross Talton is coming up, unfortunately not in Dublin this year, but around the country. I would recommend, if you fancy seeing track, go along to the international track meet that's coming up on the 1st and 2nd of June. That's a really good opportunity. It takes place in Sundrive. Really crowd friendly, really family friendly. The races are short, the races are quick, and you see some of the best cyclists that Ireland and the international scene has to offer in their natural habitat, doing really well. And it can be a really fun thing to watch and to bring other people along to see. I would also recommend things like the Downhill National Championships. Go and watch people throwing themselves down through a muddy forest track that you would look and go, I wouldn't even walk down. But again, it's that thing of find that thing that moves you. You won't know unless you try. I've always been cycling. I will always try something new. You're not finished. You have a body. You're strong. You can do stuff. You don't have to be a 5'10" blonde supermodel. You can be you, and you can be good at what you do. So find the thing that moves you. May not be the first thing you think of. Try something new. There's always an opportunity, and we want to give it to you in Cycling Ireland, that opportunity to get out there and move yourself and your bike. Also on the watching, we have a good year in the Olympics and Paralympics. We have an excellent team pursuit coming up for the Olympics. And the Paralympics, we've got 11 riders trying to qualify as well. We have 2 slots for the road race and 3. 2 for the men and 1 for the women. The team hasn't been picked yet. But again, you can support Irish cycling. There are Irish cyclists out there on the Olympic stage this year, and they're well known and they're well loved. And it would be great to have that support from the cycling community. So yeah, watch the races. Don't just think that stuff's happening. So there's local stuff, there's international. There's something out there that you should find to actually have fun and go along and support. Right. Oh no, don't do that to me. Oh, sorry, back. Okay, well, I'm nearly done. Family-friendly events. There is whatever about women's Corker Park. There's also youth racing on a Monday night, again organised through Orwell Wheelers. If you have kids from 6 to 16, and they want to do stuff on a bike, I would highly recommend going along to either take part or watch. It's graded, it's safe. They know how they've been dealing with kids for a long time. They know what they're doing, and it's a really good environment to get. If you have that kid who needs to burn off energy, it's a really good place to get them doing. Other things that aren't necessarily Cycling Ireland per se, but I would say get your kids involved in your local bike bus to school rather than taking the car to school. There are bike bus initiatives right around the country, quite a few of them in Dublin. If there isn't one in your locality, they're through the Green Schools. You can create one, and there's funding to create that. There's about 750 quid available once you've done it. If you follow the criteria, you will find that through the Green Schools website. So I'm just saying, there's more than just you. There's your family, there's watching, there's everything. So I'm Helen Kerrane. You will find me as the Women in Sport lead ask me anything. Any questions? Any queries? Any criticisms? Anything you think Cycling Ireland isn't offering that we should be offering?
By the sound of you listening, I'm not in a club, right? I
Yeah.
cycle in and out to work every day.
Yeah.
I do a bit of cycling, right? And when I received that thing there, to me that sounded immediately elitist, and it was only something for people that are in clubs.
Okay.
But listening to you talking, it's not.
No. We have...
And that, like you're saying, how will we get it out there?
Yeah.
I've heard the ad on the radio the last few days or the last few weeks about this being Cycle Week, right? I cycle to work every day, and I have not seen anything anywhere other than the ad I've heard on the radio. Like, what is it supposed to be this Cycle Week?
Okay, it's Cycle Week, Bike Week, as it's called. It's a Department of Transport initiative.
Yeah.
So it's run through local sports partnerships and clubs. I have to say Fingal County Council have done quite a few things, and Dublin City. So there was a Cycle Palooza through the city centre of Dublin on Friday evening. There was stuff out in Fingal on Saturday. Sorry, there wasn't.
I haven't heard anything about that.
It's, again, back to that question of we're a smaller sport. We have something like 26,000 members, 20,000 of whom are non-competitive. So people like you. No, we're not talking racers, we're talking non-competitive, everyday, ordinary people who just get out on their bikes and have joined us because we offer them something. So for you, we offer a commuting membership. If you're not a member, we have that. And that's why I'm saying, yeah.
I feel it is something I
Yeah.
at home and I will look into. But how many other people like me that just get on their bike and cycle in and out to work every day would be interested, but don't realise that this is something you can do if you're not in a club?
Yeah, this is why I think this is a debate around promotion and marketing for us within Cycling Ireland. I think we're talking to our own community, but trying to get the message out to the wider community. We don't have somebody who's a spokesperson the same way that the AA does. You know, when there's a road incident, you always have your man from the AA turns up in his interview. We don't have a Cycling Ireland equivalent. We do have an advocacy group that is working towards promoting cycling in a safe manner, to advocate for cyclists, to have road space, to have all the stuff that we're supposed to have, and to be safe cycling and to take away from road deaths and to support cycling. So that is there within the organisation. But our promotion, because we're a national governing body, can seem a bit, this is not a criticism of my promotion, a bit dry. We're not necessarily participation focused in a way that we could be. So we're not attracting you because we're not talking to you in a way that we could. And so this is probably something that needs to come from you as the membership that we need to listen to and turn around and go. So this is why community bike rides exist, because they're not a club, because they're a bunch of motivated people coming together and going, you know what, let's go out for a spin on a Tuesday morning and we'll have the crack and it'll be great. Or sister cycle, or whatever it is. So we're trying to give that offering to you because we realise we're not reaching you. It isn't about the clubs. Yeah, would you have known? Yeah, Twitter, little finger. I know, it's that, it's on us to get that message out there. That's why I'm here tonight. That's why I'm trying to do other stuff elsewhere. I will do better. And no, but I'm also happy if you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot now sitting here. But like, if I had not come tonight, I am interested in a few things you have said. Very interested. But only for I came tonight, I would never have known. And as I said to you, I thought Cycling Ireland was like Athletics Ireland.
Yeah.
If you're in a running club, you sign up to Athletics Ireland.
And then you have things like Parkrun, which is adjacent to. So we are trying to develop community bike rides in the same space. I mean, we have suggestions around maybe it's something that should happen with your local GP, that it becomes part of social prescribing. So instead of getting pills, you are indicated towards a social group, a cycling group. It happens elsewhere.
Like,
I mean,
one thing that's useful in cycling, so the website is difficult to navigate.
it is, I agree.
And it's such a complex sport as well. So
Yeah.
it's like, so if I go in, I kind of know at this stage what I'm going after, but the calendar is actually not bad.
Yeah.
So if you go in there and you find the calendar, you see all of the different things that are on. And actually this year, I've only noticed for the first time, there's a women's calendar with just women's stuff on it. And it's not that you have to do women's stuff all the time, but if you want to do women's stuff, there's a separate calendar.
I think this is amazing. But what I'm saying is that there's millions of women out there like me that would never even think of looking at that website.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I've been a member, and
That's the point I'm trying to make.
that's why I say everybody knows the AA guy who turns up to discuss stuff. Nobody knows that there's a Cycling Ireland. You know, we're just not out there as visible as a thing
amongst, other than the people who need us like clubs, it's not generally a thing that people go to. And I'm aware of that, so that's on us to change our messaging. I will happily pop up in front of anybody's club at any stage and answer any Cycling Ireland questions. I mean that, come find me. So I'm more than happy to go around and do that promotional piece to others.
You need to be going to other things other
Oh,
than cycling clubs, because cycling clubs already know you're there.
I have to say this, but we've just started trying to talk to the GAA. But no, I mean, we have a lot to offer them. I mean, they have facilities.
Yes.
So again, same thing. If people already use some GAA facilities as their race HQ, for example. So I'm looking at it from a community and women's perspective, going, right, Camogie have women who turn up and they have their mothers and others. If we could have a sister cycle running from a GAA place, that would be fantastic as another way of getting people. Rather than having you yelling at your kid in the pitch, get out on your bike and come round for an hour and then get back and collect your kid afterwards. So we're trying to get that foothold into different areas. We're trying to build those links because we see we're not reaching who we're supposed to be reaching. So trust us, it's like trying to turn an oil tanker. It'll take time. Now, hopefully I will be the person to help with that process.
You need those Instagram people.
Yeah, you do. But you could come along, we have women.
I actually only ever heard of a cycling club because somebody put on Facebook who I knew how they had lost weight joining a club.
Yeah.
And I said, I love cycling.
I'm in the wrong sport then because it hasn't happened for me.
I didn't realise there was clubs and there was sportives that you could, just go and like I've done them all, ring at Kerry, the whole lot. Like, never thought you'd be able to sit in a bike for 175 kilometres. Do you know what I mean? At my age, I'm 60 as well. But, do you know what I mean? But it was only just random, saw and emailed, I said, where's their club? And I emailed the person and they happened to respond, and the next thing, and it's not even in my area, but I go down, I'm in Nave Barogue as well.
Oh, are you? I'll be doing his autox.
But I go down there, But it was only just a random, like it's a pity it's not advertised, as Jean said, it'd be great now if we could start advertising or Instagram and if you want to do it, we'll put it all up.
Well, this is it. I mean, in as much as you can advocate, as I said to Annalise, it's that thing of stand on your own 2 feet, own your space and go, I do this and it's fun and I'm a member of Cycling and I'm doing this because. Everybody can be their own Instagram influencer. There's nothing stopping you from going, I'm 60 and I'm out here doing the Ring of Kerry. Good. So, it's stand up and go, yeah, I've got this. I can do this. And I don't care whether it's 10K or going down the shops for milk or whether it's 100K or in my case 200K plus because I do long distance stuff for the crack. It's avoiding parenting. But it's that thing of you find what moves you and be proud of it and be proud of the fact that you have an active body that you can do stuff with. I will say somebody said about, last week,
like we're promoting women cycling now, project the roads are just getting more and more dangerous.
That's why we have the advocacy space, and that's why if you have an election coming up, ask your local candidate about active travel. Because that's where your local council are the people who are in charge of your road space. So question them on that. Yeah. Sorry.
So like I joined the triathlon.
Yeah.
I have this whole try kind of stuff, and I felt Cycling Ireland. I didn't know I didn't know they had the kind of less. I thought it was a bit intimidating, I suppose, to join Cycling Ireland, and I wouldn't enter my head.
Yeah.
Because they really pitch at the beginning. Is there a route towards like the try version of the cycling competing? Is there any sort of real beginner league?
Yes, there are. There are beginner leagues in downhill. The Women's Commission has been absolutely fantastic in promoting stuff in off-road spaces. And there are come and try events throughout the year at various stages. Again, keep an eye on the website because under events you will find, and particularly we had to... Yeah, exactly. There are different events for the different disciplines at various different stages. Somebody mentioned earlier about not being able to get a bike because of the cost of it. Your local sports partnerships actually sometimes have fleets of bikes. And there are active travel hubs around the place, and there's bikelibrary.eu. There are bike libraries around the place where you can go and rent a bike at various points. Even if you can't afford one immediately off the top, you can at least go and try stuff. And you can find e-bikes and you can find everything. And even Bleeper Bike have a rent-a-bike scheme for their electric bikes. So there are bike rental places. Go and talk to your local sports partnership. If you've never heard of them, they're out there. Google them and you'll find them in one in your area, and make contact with whoever is their active travel person. They'll be happy to hear from you. But they have stuff. There's good second-hand as well.
People who love their bikes.
Yeah.
And they're clean and they're kept well.
But again, cost shouldn't be a barrier to entry. No. And again, sometimes clubs have rental schemes and recycling schemes within a club as well. So you should be able to get a bike somewhere. Any other questions before I let the lovely Eleanor, who works literally across the building from me. so we have stronger links out in Abbottstown out there between our different NGBs. Any other questions? Anything I can do for you? So if you look me up, I'm helen.kerrane, Kerrane, at cyclingireland.ie. You will find me. If you don't, somebody will tell you where I am. I'm more than happy to help. I'm also happy to take criticism or feedback or whatever. Come find me and I'll see what I can do for you, because this is my job. It's my hobby, but now it's my job. And you are my constituency, and I really, really enjoy getting people on bikes. So thank you very much for tonight.
Hi everybody, my name is Eleanor Condon. I'm the Women in Sport lead with Triathlon Ireland, and unfortunately I got the graveyard shift. So can I get you all to stand up and sit back down? And stand up and sit back down. And for one more time, stand up and sit back down. I'm very conscious you've been sitting since about 7:10 this evening. So I'm going to get as quickly through this as I possibly can. It is 22:09 and I have a 2-hour drive to do after here. So who am I and why am I here? Well, as I said, my name is Eleanor Condon. I'm the Women in Sport lead at Triathlon Ireland. But I'm the very same as probably the majority of you people here. I'm a mum, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a friend, I'm an athlete, I'm a coach, and I'm a Women in Sport lead at Triathlon Ireland. Very, very similar to quite a lot of you here in the audience. But why am I here? I got asked by Cycle Superstore, and I couldn't say no. So, where am I going with this? Oh God, I can't see. Next. Am I good? No. This one? Okay. How many people here are members of Triathlon Ireland? Boo or ooh? Boo. Very small few begged. But I just want to know, any people here interested in getting involved in triathlon? Another few hands being raised. Excellent. So fingers crossed I'll be able to talk to you about what we do for women in sport and Triathlon Ireland and actually get you across the line. So what are we? Well, we're the national governing body of triathlon in Ireland. What we look after all things multi-sport, from duathlon, triathlon and aquathon. So it's not just one. It's not just triathlon. There's something for everybody within it. We are affiliated to World Triathlon and to Europe Triathlon as well. God, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be down here. Oh God. Next. What was it they used to say on the Late Late Show? Roll it there, Roisin, or something. Colette. I need a Colette.
I'll do it for you.
Ah, you're very good. So what is a triathlon? It's an endurance multi-sport event consisting of a swim, bike, run, one straight after the other. For my triathletes out there, what's the part that I'm missing? Transition. So as I said, swim, bike, run, one straight after the other. There is no stopping. You go from one straight into the other. And as the lady said there, it's called transition. So you are timed from your swim to your bike and your bike to your run. So transition is the fourth element of triathlon. Thanks, you're very good. Thank you. So in triathlon, there is various distances. You were already speaking there about the try. So try can vary. It's not regimented, but this is an approximate distance. It's a 250-metre swim, a 6K bike and a 3K run. And it goes all the way, usually doubled, right up to long distance or Ironman, which is a 3.8 kilometre swim, a 180K cycle, and a 42.2K bike, or run. That's just numbers. So this was put to me years ago when I was discovering what triathlon was. What's Iron distance? So the way it was described to me was 2 laps of the race course in Clonmel, get on my bike and cycle to Dublin and do the Dublin Marathon. It's the way it was described to me, and it's perfect because these are just numbers. You get an approximate, you get an idea, you know what's ahead of you. But peel back right to sprint distance, sorry Orla. Sprint distance is something that is very manageable for everybody. It's 750 metre swim, a 20k bike and a 5k run. And while it says sprint, which is fast to elite people doing it, it's achievable to the vast majority of those that want to just do a finish line, not a finish time. So as I said, it goes up in distances right up to the Ironman. Thank you. So what other events are there? So I said we do have duathlons, which is a run, bike, run. So if you're not interested in swimming, you've got that. The aquathlon, if you're not interested in biking, which I shouldn't say that, I'm standing here, just dodge, you've got a swim and a run. So there is something, if there's one discipline you're not overly keen on, there is an element that you can do to make sure it fits for purpose for what you want out of it.
Just give it a good push, actually.
Okay. So how do I get involved? So we do have various different types of memberships. QR code, if anybody here wants to scan it and have a look, feel free to stand up and do it. But the two types of membership that I'm going to speak about here are the full membership and the club training membership. So what is the difference between both? So there's the personal injury is on both, which is imperative, third-party cover. Within the full membership, you get race series eligibility. You can qualify for age group racing in Europe and World Triathlon. You get the €20 cycle super discount. Woohoo for the heads at the back. We also have other discounts for bike insurance companies, travel companies and stuff are also included. We have weekly turbo talk sessions, so they usually happen in the morning times. I think it's a Tuesday, Friday and a Saturday. We have a turbo session. You just come online, it's not Zwift, it is Zoom and your turbo. And there is a really, really good community that's after being built up around that. Has anybody here done it? Any of the triathletes done it yet? It's really, really good fun. Not overly serious if you want it to be, can be serious if you want it to be, okay? So there's something for everybody in it. We do have women in sport webinars, discounted women in sport initiatives, which I'm going to speak about, and new to Triathlon Ireland programs. So I had somebody speak there about the new triathlon programs. We run those in conjunction with clubs and local sports partnerships. They are all around the country, okay? You'll find something somewhere that will suit you. Clubs are your ideal in. I'm going to show you on the next slide how to get involved in the clubs. There's 95 triathlon clubs throughout the island of Ireland with 28 juniors, okay? So I'm going to get this sent out in a PowerPoint to you later, but these are the links here. Anybody here not Leinster based? Just me. Big up the Munster people. But there's 95 clubs throughout the country, the majority of them being in Leinster. So what I've done, because I was thinking there wouldn't be anybody else from any of the other provinces. So what I've gone and done is for the Dublin clubs, there is a list of them here. And I've also put the usual location of where they're based out of or where they train from. So there is a triathlon club close enough to you if you want to look hard enough. You will find them on the Triathlon Ireland website as well. And where you find them, there's links to their Facebook page, their Instagram page, or their Twitter feeds or whatever. But there is a club close to you. Just on the fringes, we have Wicklow Tri Club, there's Naas, and there's a Thai as well. So if you're from the surrounding areas, there is clubs there as well. But as I said, there's 95 clubs throughout Ireland, and these are your Dublin-based ones. Nope. It's gone rogue.
Did it go too far?
Gone too far.
So back.
Back. Oh, now we're gone really too far. Robbie? If I go without a presentation, I'll be still here till 10 o'clock tonight. So the presentation keeps me focused.
I'll stay here.
Okay, thanks.
Keep on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. So why do we want to get involved? Meet new people, train, compete or participate in events, have a sense of achievement or an identity, or enjoy it. And I'm also going to tell you about a very special women's only race we have happening. Those that are in the triathlon clubs that have said they are, why are you in your club? Don't be shy. Brilliant. How do you find it?
Yeah, great. Yeah, Paul's
Brilliant.
Yeah. So they have a variety of things. You can pick and choose what you want to do.
Excellent. There's something to suit everybody. Brilliant. Anybody else?
I'd say it's cost effective, is it?
It's cost effective. So if you're doing 3 training sessions or 3 disciplines, to do 3 training sessions a week, 100% when you take in your membership fee and your club membership fee, you get to do 3 sports in one. It's one thing I'm going to gloat about is cycling is one sport. While there's loads of different types of disciplines within it, we have 3 sports. But yeah, absolutely cost effective. Yeah.
So I was actually thinking of, so one of the women who helped me with the Orla Beginner League last night, she was up going swimming this morning. I said, God, it'd be nice to go swimming. And I was thinking, if you just join a triathlon club,
Yeah.
you could just jump in their swim sessions.
Just in you go, and then it's done. Usually swims are usually early in the morning with triathlon clubs, but each club is different, and your best way of finding out is actually get in contact with them. I'm going to jump on to the next one. So I just spoke there really quickly about the women's only event. So part of my remit was to set up a women's only race. So I've been working with Triathlon Ireland for coming up on 6 years now, but I've been the women in sport lead for the last 5 months. So I was tasked with getting a women's only race going. So if anybody here heard of Loch Cutra Castle Race Series, there's going to be a women's only non-competitive race happening next week in Loch Cutra. It's the same distance as the sprint, so it's a 750 metre swim, 20k bike and 5k run. The big difference is it is not competitive. It's not worrying about your finish time, it's just crossing the finish line. So that's, before I went off on that, the last couple of years I've ran numerous new to try programs, and I've seen women tend to fall off towards the end of them. So for the last couple of years I've accumulated quite a lot of people within these programs, and this was an incentive to bring them back into the sport in a safe space. So on the day in Loch Cutra, when you're doing that race, you're the only one on the course with your other women. There's nobody else out there. You don't need to worry about, no offense guys, but the guys on the TT bike with the really fancy helmets. You don't need to worry about them zooming past you. You don't need to worry about the technical officials coming up and shouting and roaring at you because you're cycling too close to somebody's bike. It's really inclusive, it's really friendly, and it's really, really safe. The only difference is you are timed, it's not a public time. The timing is just for a safety thing. So if anybody is interested in learning more, it's on the Castle Race Series website, or you can contact me directly. Next slide.
Sorry, Eleanor, can I just comment on that
Yeah.
particular race yet? So I have to say congrats on what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
Because I signed up for the women's series that you're talking about.
Brilliant.
Every week there's a webinar, every week there's a training
Yeah.
plan and everything. It's brilliant, and I wish we had the same for Cycling Ireland, to be honest.
Okay.
But going back to the triathlon on that date, it coincides with a sportive that a number of us will be doing. It's
Okay.
Connemara's sportive.
Okay.
And I'm finding that some of the sportives even are overlapping. Ringabera and Connemara are also overlapping. If there was some way that people looked at the calendars, both from Cycling Ireland and Triathlon Ireland, particularly if you're encouraging women to get involved, just don't clash those kind of events, because I would love to do that, but it's literally the same day. And I know you're running Coulter the following day on Sunday, and I said I'm staying overnight, I might even do it on the Sunday. There's no possibility there. I think it's family friendly, and there's a few other events. So just maybe my suggestion to Cycling Ireland, to Ireland, try not to
clash them. Okay.
Sportives that you're trying to get women involved in.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'll take that on board for definite.
Well done for what you're doing. I have to
Thank
say
you.
You're really enthusiastic.
Thank
on
you.
Email as well.
Thank you. It might be too much email, am I?
Yeah, no, I just checked there. You're the same person.
So just while we're talking about Loch Cutra, so there's a couple of things that you're definitely going to need. You need a wetsuit. It's water's too cold in Ireland, unfortunately, to swim in a race without a wetsuit. You need a bike and a helmet. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be safe. Okay, there's not going to be anybody criticizing bikes or looking at them in a negative way. If you want to come up with your mountain bike to the race, that's absolutely fine. Your helmet, as long as it's in a safe working condition, okay, they will be checked. Cycling shoes or runners, again, if you're not used to cycling in cycling shoes, runners are perfectly acceptable to wear. And a tri-suit or comfortable clothing. So, anybody here know what a tri-suit is besides triathletes? It's one piece of kit. Is there one on display anywhere? I've got a tri-suit anywhere on display. It's one piece of kit you wear from the start of your race to the end of your race, and you don't change it at all, okay? So for your swim, tri-suit's on, wetsuit goes over the tri-suit. When you're finished your swim, you take off your wetsuit, and you sit onto your bike, and off you go. Yes, you're wet, it goes off really, really quickly, okay? So the tri-suit is a piece of kit that you can wear underneath. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory to wear. You can wear a swimsuit by all manner of means, you just can't change in the transition area. So you pop on your shorts and t-shirts or your jacket or whatever you have underneath. But the tri-suit, it's very effective. Literally, you pop it on. What do you wear underneath it? How many people are wondering, Eleanor, what do you wear underneath the tri-suit? No underwear for starters, no knickers. You can wear, it's like the cycling shorts, there's a chamois on it. It's not that thick, it's smaller. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot smaller than a cycling one. Yes.
Has the rule changed? Like, was there, because like in my day, they used to wear a swimsuit that had a chamois in it. All right?
Yes, so that's perfectly fine as well.
And
yeah.
You haven't changed. You are like a t-shirt.
You can, but you have to have a t-shirt or shorts. You can't go out on just a swimsuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that has changed.
That you have to put on t-shirts and shorts. Yeah.
Modesty has come
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bra. Do we wear a bra under a tri-suit? Hands up who says yeah. Hands up who says no.
I'm doing my first triathlon and I couldn't wear one of those tri-suits because if I need to go to a loo, the whole thing has to.
It has to 100%. There, it's on now. Look what we have here.
But I bought it kind of and I can't
So you see the
without a
chin?
bra on.
Yeah.
So I've actually bought it's a bikini top. It's a sports one. It's like a black, but it's like a bra without the sponge because I don't want it to soak the
Yeah.
water.
That's
With my t-shirt on,
yeah.
it's fine.
It's perfect, and that's what I was getting to. Personally, I wear a sports bra under my tri-suit. I ain't going running because God knows where they'll end up if I run without one. But like I was just going to say, as long as it's not a padded one, okay, because you don't want to be carrying around excess water with you. But is it all right if I pass this around so people can kind of get an idea? Literally put it on, put your sports bra on, no underwear, otherwise you're going to know about it fairly quickly, okay? Next slide. So we also have the Triathlon Ireland National Series. They're races that we hold throughout the country. The first one started last Sunday in my home club of Clonmel. Anybody here? No? No? And they run right through to September. So they're literally scattered all around the country and they're part of a series. If you are not interested in participating in that series, that's perfectly fine. There is loads more races out there. They're just not on our website on this fancy, but they are on the website link that you can scan here. It's a really, really cool map because you can highlight over each county. You hover on it, it comes up what races are going to be on. So if you hover over Tipperary, it'll tell you that Clonmel was last week and Carrick-on-Suir is in August. Okay, so if you're local to somewhere, if you're planning on going on holidays, want to get into a triathlon, have a scan over the county and it'll bring you to a race calendar. So if anybody wants to have a look, you can have a scan of the QR code. Next one. So what else is there for me? So I've spoken a lot there about competing or participating or training or joining a club, but there is so much more to triathlon than just doing it. There is being it. And I'm personally a huge advocate of being in it. I haven't raced since 2019, but I've done so much in between. I've done all my coaching. I'm up to a level 2 coach. I'm now women in sport lead, but I haven't actually done a triathlon since 2019. Yeah, right, it's my job, but there is so much more that people can get involved in, like the coaching, advocates. I know Helen was speaking about her advocates there. We have advocates. We have 12 women who are very much active on social media, promoting what triathlon does, how it's part of your life, not just rocking up to the training session on the Tuesday evening or the Thursday morning or doing your cycle on a Sunday. There's huge, huge opportunities within that, and this is what our advocates are there to show. Karen McGurn is a fantastic advocate, and she's been promoting our La Couture series. Brilliant. she's been promoting our Loch Couture race through her social media. There's also another advocate, Fiona O'Donnell, based down in Clonakilty in West Cork. If you're on social media, there are 2 women I would highly recommend you follow. They're absolutely fantastic. They're you and me. They're just so impactful in what they have to tell their story about in triathlon. There's also committees. Anybody here a member of their cycling committee or their triathlon committee? Yeah. We offer programs in Triathlon Ireland to support women to go on to committees. So we're recently after launching 2 leadership programs, one with Cycling Ireland and Rowing Ireland. It's for young women in triathlon, so women between 17 and 21. It's given them opportunities to become more of a leader within themselves and within the clubs. And we've also launched our Women in Sport Leadership Programme. That's going to be in September as well. It's empowering women with skills to be on committees, to go forward to boards. It's not just towing the race line. It's not just turning up to training. There's so much more that's involved in what we do. We also have technical officials. So again, going back to anybody who's here raced a triathlon, technical officials are referees. There's opportunities for women to become technical officials as well. We've had a lot of success on our boards through our Women in Sport Leadership programs. At the moment, we have 3 women sitting on World Triathlon boards who have come through these programs. So it's not just, as I said, it's not towing the start line, it's not going to training. We have huge amounts of networking opportunities as well. We liaise with the likes of cycling and rowing and boxing as well. We run networking days. And there's also numerous webinars. Just in April, I ran the Promoting Period Positivity webinar series. I don't know, did you come across it? But basically, each Wednesday night for 4 weeks, there was a different speaker on discussing either the menstrual cycle, discussing peri and perimenopause. There was another lady on talking about pregnancy. So we're trying to break down barriers, talking about periods and menstrual health and how being a woman is affected by this, and how you train, or how your cycle supports your training, but how your training supports your cycle as well. So all those are there for the women. It's not just, you're going to be sick of me saying this, it's not just the racing, it's not just the training. There's a huge community outside of actually being a competitor or a participant. Next one. Just to go back to that previous slide, you don't need to change it, but this is just an example of where we've come with some of our leadership programs. 33% of our technical officials are women. 60% of the Triathlon Ireland Youth Commission, which is a project I lead on with 13 to 17-year-olds, they're basically our voice of the youth. Me at 38, I don't know what's cool anymore, apparently. So we have this youth commission who support us to make triathlon cool for them. 30% of all the club chairs are female, 28% of our race organisers, 46% are designated liaison persons, and 61% are club children's officers. So it is not just, say it? Competing. Next slide. That's all I have. I think I'm going 20 minutes. That's not too bad. It's 2 minutes before we're officially finished. Has anybody any questions?
Why do you think so I think in the membership in triathlon, it's fairly balanced, isn't it, between men and women?
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Cycling, it's not balanced. There's a lot more men in cycling than there is women, than there are women. Why do you think that is?
I have 2 reasons. One, we have what we would call age group in triathlon. I'm not sure, is there equivalent, Helen, in cycling?
No, I don't know what your version of it is.
So,
we have masters, we do youth, but we typically
okay.
for middle-aged.
It is and it isn't.
So I mean in cycling, sorry.
Oh, sorry. With age group in triathlon, the reason we see such longevity in our membership fees, or our memberships, are when you reach a certain area in sport, like I gave up gymnastics when I was 20. My body wasn't as flexible as what it used to be. That was my kind of time limit. You look towards GAA, there comes a certain time where your tendons in your knees start to give out, your back gets sore. There's a little bit of that in it. With triathlon, you don't have that. There's what we call age group. So as you're getting older, you're getting closer to a new age group. And what you'd see is, and it's particularly the guys that when they get a year older, so our age groups will be say 55 to 59, The guy that's 54, it's like, oh, I'm getting a little bit slow in the age group. Next thing, the following year, they're the youngest person in their age group. There is that element of it, which I think is fantastic to see with triathlon. The second part, I think because we have so much to offer outside of actually doing triathlon, that's massive. You look to our junior sections, vast majority of it's women behind it, pushing it.
But is it women, is the majority of women because it's a kind of a 50-50 sport? Like if you go, like cycling has all of that as well.
Yeah.
Like it's got all the networking and the leadership and the race organisers and all of that stuff. But that's also in cycling, but it's so male dominated in comparison. So we have a women's commission. We set up a women's commission back in 2002 to build national leagues, build beginner leagues, build a pathway that was all sort of done on a voluntary basis. Until Cycling Ireland got the funding, it was supposed to make it more. But I bet there isn't a women's commission in Triathlon Ireland because you have almost a 50-50 representation.
Pretty much a 50-50. You know, and it's getting the word out on opportunities for women, I think, is imperative. Absolutely. Yeah.
What I'd love to know on that 50-50 is, right? Are more of the men younger and more of the women older?
It's pretty much the same. Yeah.
Same age
bracket, yeah.
A lot of the men that do triathlons are men kind of like 25 to say late 40s, whereas I think a lot of the women going into the triathlons are over 40.
Over 40, I'd go and say the men, it's pretty much similar. Really? It's, yeah.
I think it's interesting.
I'm a Cycling Ireland member. If I want to do try, is there a one-day license?
You can get a one-day membership, yeah.
And is there a limit to the amount of one-day memberships you can get?
No, you can get as many as you want, but it becomes a case where you're probably better off getting a race license. It's €30 for a one-day membership, whereas a membership fee is €79. So do the maths. If you're to buy, if you're buying 3 one-day memberships, you're better off getting the license. Yeah. Anybody else? Is anybody going to look into doing a triathlon as a result of the last 20 minutes, or even look into joining a club, or even visit our website, our Instagram, our Facebook page?
We're already booked to do our first one on the 1st of June. Down in Athy.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Brilliant. I'm delighted to hear that.
So we're going to give it a lash.
Excellent. Give it a try. Hey! Anybody, anything else?
I just want to ask, you have a group for swimming and cycling?
Specific, that will be dependent on the tri-club. Okay. So I know myself, like in my own club, we would have different training on different day. And I know Sunday is the big cycle day. There's various groups. There's the coffee and cake group. Then there's definitely the more advanced. See, with triathlon, like, because there's so many different distances, each group has their own target of their own training. So it's finding what works for you, what distance works for you, and then slotting into a group within your club. Absolutely, there's something for everybody within it. Yeah. No, am I good?
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Can I go back to Tipperary? It's a long way.